So, I want to talk about codependency and the anxious attachment part of that, which actually has a little bit of dismissive avoidant attachment issues that are part of it as well. I want to dive into what that is, what is really happening, and what you can do about it. So, if you're new here, first of all, I'm Ketra Thompson, and I am a certified master hypnotist and a relationship coach. So, what I do with my clients is we go back on a subconscious level so that you can reframe the subconscious programming that's driving your unwanted behaviors, your attachment styles, your unwanted feelings and patterns, so that you can function differently. And we add to that relationship coaching and attachment style coaching so that you can have the long-term success that you're looking for. So if you'd like to learn more, you can always check out the link in the description below where you can set up a completely complimentary consultation call so that you and I can chat and we can get to the heart of what's going on with you, because everyone's situation is unique. So you'll want to check that out. And as always, if my content resonates with you, I really appreciate it if you could click like and subscribe so you could be notified every time I post a new video. So you might have heard of the term codependent, and it's a term that came about actually after AA started. So they had all of these addicts going to AA or whatever addiction recovery program they were in, and they realized that the spouses of these partners had issues too and were struggling as well. And so they sort of coined the term codependent, that these people stayed out of this level of neediness. And so, in my opinion, it's not a perfect term because we all have the need for other people. We are wired that way, hardwired. But the healthy version of that type of connection is interdependence, where we rely on each other, but we don't sacrifice our own well-being for someone else. And that's kind of what happens. And so in my mind, like a better term, the book is Codependent No More that everyone's read. I would say it's Self-Betrayal No More would be a little more accurate, because what's happening is when someone is with someone, let's just say, for example, that is an alcoholic. They are, pouring out their alcohol. They're trying to save them from themselves. And what it really is it's control. They're trying to control it. So if this person could just function well, then I would feel okay. But the problem with that is it's all externally focused. It's not looking at yourself, because looking at yourself would make you realize this doesn't work for me. My needs aren't being met. I'm walking on eggshells. I'm altering myself to manage someone else's emotions and their feelings and their reactions. And this happens a lot when you're dealing with someone in a narcissistic relationship, dismissive avoidant relationship, where their behavior is unpredictable or inconsistent, and you find yourself managing your behavior in order to try to actually manage theirs and to mitigate their reactions or them hurting you emotionally in some way. So it's this mentality that I must fix this other person. I must fix them so I can feel okay. And it's very much in alignment with the anxious attachment style. The anxious attacher didn't have the consistency that they needed from their parents. They didn't have the space to fully have their emotions validated. They didn't hold space for them. They didn't allow them to believe that they're allowed to be human, that they're allowed to have big emotions, they're allowed to feel a certain way, and that that's all part of the human experience. They were more in a situation where you had to jump through certain hoops to keep the approval of your parents. And when you're young, you need the approval because you need the care and the protection. And if you didn't have the care and protection, you couldn't provide for yourself. And so it was a survival mechanism that served that person at one point. But as you grow up, it is no longer an absolute necessity that you have the protection and care of your caregivers, because you are your caregiver now. But the hard wiring is in there. And so the subconscious mind as I've said every time in every video, it's controlling over 95% of everything you think, feel, and do. And it's programmed when you're quite young, usually the bulk of it before the age of 7. And then complex trauma and other traumas can affect it after the age of 7. And so if you have an anxious attachment style or a pattern like this, you're probably dealing with very old programming that has been there for a very long time. It feels normal because it's always been there, but it's not necessarily serving you. And I see this a lot in people who grew up with alcoholic parents or people who are with someone who does use some kind of substance like that. It's very similar to the way that people behave around a dismissive avoidant or around someone narcissistic, someone entitled. They're very, very much walking on eggshells. The unpredictability of the other person's behavior makes them very uncertain, very unsure, not standing on solid ground. And so they overfunction and they get really dysregulated by the other person's behavior. And so there sort of becomes this built up anger and rage almost of the unfairness of it all. And what they don't realize is they are staying in this, in the unfairness, and they could be leaving, but they feel like there's such a struggle because they love this person who is treating them this way. But why do they love them? Because their subconscious mind thinks they need them. And life without them would be so much worse. And you've got to go through basically a drug detox, to break those attachment bonds. And so it's just this ongoing cycle of self-betrayal. And what I find is really common in this type of person with this anxious attachment style, as well as this is one thing that's shared with them and the dismissive avoidant. They don't receive very well. They don't know how to express their needs. They don't understand what they're feeling. They don't understand how to communicate boundaries. And where the dismissive avoidant will just shut down, shut off, pull away without communicating a boundary verbally, the anxious person will press in and try to fix and accommodate and put themselves in a box to make the other person happy so they can calm down a bit. But they aren't really aware of what their actual needs are. They want peace and they want calm, but they don't know what their needs are specifically, how to do that for themselves, because they don't tune into their feelings on a regular enough basis to determine what needs are there and then express them. And if the other person can't meet them, then it's their responsibility to meet that need themselves, whether through their friend group, through some kind of support, or leaving the situation, and they just don't. And so their needs go unmet, and they are in a continual loop of self-betrayal, which builds up that resentment and that anger and that frustration. And it's all about the other person, and they can't believe if they could just change, everything would be fine. But it wouldn't, because when they find themselves in something that is really healthy, then they don't know how to receive without having to earn it. So it's kind of that mentality of, and I see this a lot, like in my, one generation older than me, but even with people my age, a lot of like believing that I have to earn my rest. Oh, I can't take a break yet. I haven't gotten enough done. I need to do more. I need to accomplish more. I need to, clean that room out. I can't rest yet. I have to earn my rest. You don't have to earn your rest. Rest is such a vital, important part of the human experience that we will burn out if we don't meet that need in a regular time frame. So when we have panic attacks, when we go through burnout, it's because we are way past the point of needing rest. Now we've gone past the point of needing rest. We've gone past the point of needing recovery time. We've gone past the point of any of it to full on burnout, and there's serious damage at that point to our nervous system, to our hormones, to all of it. So if you find that you're someone who has that sort of codependent pattern, which is a lot of self-betrayal, a lot of trying to fix others, manage others' feelings, manage their emotions, anticipate their needs, not rock the boat, you probably find that you are not receiving very well and that you have a bit of an anxious attachment style. So the first thing that you can do is that you receive in two ways. You receive from yourself and you receive from others. So step one is you've got to start tuning in to you. You've got to start identifying what you're feeling, what you need, and start meeting those needs for yourself. Putting yourself to bed on time, giving yourself the healthy food that you know that will make you feel good, giving yourself the healthy friendships, connections, trying the new things, whatever that is to meet those needs for you, you've got to start giving to yourself as step one. That's how you start learning to receive. Now, the second step, step two of that, is learning to express your needs to others. But you've got to get to a point where you can detach from expecting a certain outcome from them. So you've got to let go of control of what they will say. You're not asking them to help meet a need because you're going to be mad and you're going to be angry and you're going to be manipulative if they can't. You're going to ask so that you are staying true to yourself. You're not betraying yourself. You're being honest with the people in your life. And if they say no, that's just information that you can use to get to a point of making a decision. If this person continually cannot work with me and we can't meet each other's needs in a healthy way, maybe I shouldn't be in that relationship. Or maybe this is a need I need to meet elsewhere. But you need to take that as data that you've gathered so that you can make an informed decision about how to meet the need, even if they say no, without melting down, without spiraling into full-on rejection mode and thinking that, they just don't love me. So the reason people don't share their needs in the first place is because they don't, first of all, know what they are usually. But secondly, they have a huge fear of rejection. If that person says no, then what does it mean about me? Does it mean I'm not lovable? Does it mean I'm not good enough? And there's all the old programming that comes right up to the surface and sends you into a spiral. And so in the hypnotherapy process, that's the stuff we deal with. We go back on a subconscious level so you can reframe that stuff, because when those beliefs were made, you didn't have any discernment. You were young, you were vulnerable, and you need to create clarity around that programming so it's no longer putting you into this place of the scared little girl or scared little boy or the rejection that you just can't handle. You need to be able to share your needs without the fear of rejection. It's not about whether they can meet the need or not. It's about whether or not you are strong enough, healed enough, clear enough, and connected to your self-worth enough to share the need without attaching yourself to the outcome. That's really important. So step one, start meeting your own needs by giving to yourself. Step two, start expressing needs to the people in your life so that you can start receiving. And when they do meet your need, when they are able to say, yeah, I can do that, receive it graciously. You don't owe them anything. Their choice to meet your need is 100% their choice. You didn't force it. You didn't coerce it. It's theirs. They have their own autonomy. You don't owe them anything. That's a big deal. A lot of people will not receive because they simply believe that if they do, they're going to owe that person. And they don't want to owe anybody. They don't want anyone to hold anything over their head. So you need to be able to have enough connection to your self-worth so that if someone asks something of you, even if they've given to you in the past, and you don't have the capacity to give them what they're asking for or to meet that need, that you can still say, no, that doesn't work for me. I can't right now. Without beating yourself up, without going into that mental place of, I should, because they did that for me, I owe them. That's bull. Like, you have your own autonomy, and so do they. But it's these old beliefs and old programs that keep us thinking that we have to play this part, and it keeps you stuck in self-betrayal. So I hope this was helpful in shining some light on what this actually is, the codependency, anxious attachment, self-betrayal loop, which has lots of different facets to it, but there's a lot of connection between all of those things. And there's a reason that you are choosing the people you're choosing, staying stuck in the patterns that you've been stuck in, and you're repeating those patterns, and it's because of the old programming. So if you would like some real help with reframing all of that subconscious programming, you can again set up that consultation call at the link in the description below. And I do have my new attachment detox program, which is in the link below. It is not one-on-one custom work, but it's pre-recorded, both coaching and hypnotherapy work, plus live coaching calls for an extremely low introductory price. So you can check that out if you're in a situation where you are attached to someone right now that you can't let go of, that you can't get over, that you can't stop ruminating over. This is a really good first step if you aren't ready to do all the custom one-on-one work. So you'll want to check that out. And of course, once again, I am so grateful that you take the time to watch my content, and I hope that it's valuable to you. And if it is, I'd really appreciate it if you could click like and subscribe, and so you could be notified every time I post a new video. And until next time, I hope you curate a life by your own design.